The European Union has welcomed the Gaza ceasefire deal and hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas. Now, the complex ceasefire accord between Israel and militant group Hamas, which controls Gaza, emerged yesterday after mediation by Qatar, Egypt and the US, and 15 months of bloodshed that devastated the coastal territory and inflamed the Middle East. Now, the deal will take effect on Sunday, and negotiators are working with Israel and Hamas on steps to implement it. So let's speak to Afrasid, Senior Research Fellow and Director Thembisa Fakude. Thembisa, good evening to you and thank you so much for your time. So if we're still seeing reports that are suggesting that, the Israeli government is suggesting that Hamas may renege on some parts of this deal and they've delayed a meeting, what does it mean?
Well, we've been here before, and this is why many people were saying yesterday that this deal must be taken with cautious optimism, because Benjamin Netanyahu has tended to do this whenever the deal was about to be accepted by Hamas. He comes up with other reasons why he should delay the acceptance of the deal. But while that is happening, today we've had 78 Palestinians were killed, and one, of course, expects that between now and Sunday, the day which has been marked as the beginning of this ceasefire, more and more Palestinians are going to be killed.
Do you think Sunday, if it comes, will we see this deal starting to be implemented, or are we going back to the drawing board?
Well, it's likely to happen because it was endorsed and announced by not only Joe Biden, but Donald Trump, who's the incoming president of the United States, including the Qataris. The Prime Minister of Qatar, Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, also confirmed this. So it will be embarrassing for all of these parties if the deal doesn't go through. But importantly, I think if it doesn't go through, Trump will be extremely upset with Benjamin Netanyahu, and you might just see a different relationship from the 20th when Trump comes in. So it's likely that it's going to go ahead.
And when you look at it, some have described it as, the beginning and simply not the end, because there's still quite a lot that needs to be done. You think about hostages, you think about the catastrophic, devastation that's in Gaza and the rebuilding of it, therefore, which could take maybe months or even years. It certainly speaks to just how complex this is and how it's likely to take time for us to get to the end of all of this.
Well, indeed, but I think this gives some sort of relief because, according to the deal, there are 3 phases, but the first phase will allow something like 600 trucks with aid to enter Gaza. It will allow the Gazans that have been displaced to go back to their homes, even though, of course, 70% of Gaza has been destroyed by the Israeli fire. But those people are going to be allowed to go back into their homes. And there's going to be a ceasefire whilst the discussions, or phase 2 and 3, are taking place. So there is certainly going to be a relief. And we're going to have 43 hostages that are currently held by Hamas and the Islamic Jihad being allowed to go back to their families, and Israel is also going to release some prisoners. So there's something really promising that is going to be happening, and I think that's going to be encouraging in terms of making sure that the second and the third phase are implemented.
Does it speak to the financing part of it, Thembisa, to say that who then ensures, for example, that the destruction in Gaza, where people are now, as you say, expected to go back to their homes and most of the homes are non-existent, does it speak about who needs to foot that bill? At the same time, who needs to ensure that, it is built up to either as it was before or even better?
Well, Trump has in the past indicated that there's some business opportunities in Gaza, so you might just have the United States giving some money for their own interest and benefit. But the 2 countries that are certainly going to be involved is Qatar and Saudi Arabia, and some of the Gulf countries that have got deep pockets. And the business, of course, now is going to be going to the likes. Israel might just also benefit from concessions and tenders in reconstruction of Gaza. Turkey is lining itself up in China. So there are 3 possible funders of the reconstruction of Gaza. It's the United States, Qatar and Saudi Arabia, and perhaps the United Nations will also come in and assist in the reconstruction of Gaza.
I'm keen to hear your thoughts on this one, because there's some reports who are saying that, yes, there could be a deal that has been struck. All of it may signal that, as you say, relief, and there's the beginning now of the process of rebuilding. But some are saying that it has put Benjamin Netanyahu as prime minister in a compromising position and certainly have exposed him as far as his political career is concerned. Your take?
Indeed, and he knows that's why he keeps on kicking the can down the road, because when the dust settles, he's likely not only to face charges inside Israel, but he's got two very important processes against him at the ICJ, and ICJ, of course, is genocide against Israel, but ICC against him and his former defense minister, Yoav Gallant. So it's going to be tough times ahead for Benjamin Netanyahu. The world is going to become much smaller, but I think you are likely to see the charges and the legal processes within Israel beginning in earnest against Benjamin Netanyahu, and he might just find himself in jail.